Welcome back to my farm. Now today I want to talk about a couple of gameplay mods I use, or a few gameplay mods I use. And what brought this video about was I was talking to a friend of mine and I mentioned that because I have at the moment 8 paddocks I use for cows, and I only have cows in 5 of those, but I move the cows around as I imagine the grass is eaten and things. And I mentioned that 2 of the paddocks I couldn't use during winter time because if it's snowing I haven't got any tractor with enough power to pull the feed mixers up the hill. And he thought I'd just made that up as part of the kind of story I'm playing, but in actual fact that's reality. And I realised that a lot of people may not know about some of these mods. Now, first of all, I must admit that sometimes I do make things up to go along with the story. So, for example, this gate here in this paddock, I put this gate in. The real reason I put this gate in is that I like sometimes driving tractors along roads that have traffic in them. So I have to, avoid the traffic and things and keep out of their way. But the story I made up for putting that gate in is that this stone bridge here, which is the other way of getting into this paddock, I decided that the stone bridge is beginning to fall apart, so I can't take any heavy equipment over that stone bridge. I can take a tractor on its own or something like that. I certainly can't take a tractor with a trailer full of bales. Now, that's made up. That bridge is built into the map, and nothing would ever make that bridge collapse. But it's something that I just did just to add to my story. So, now, getting back to these different mods I have. So the first mod I want to talk about is the Park Vehicles mod. How that works is, as you can see, you can tab between different vehicles. You can only tab against vehicles that are not parked. So in this particular case, if you might see 2 little dots below my fuel gauge on the bottom right hand side of the screen. And if I go Control T, the red circle appears over that, and if I go Control T, the red circle disappears again. If a vehicle has a red circle on it like that, it's parked. And if it doesn't, it's not parked. And the difference between parked and not parked is you can only tab between vehicles that aren't parked. So at the moment I've got those 3 non-parked. If I park this one, now you can see I can only tab between those 2 vehicles. Where this mod comes in really handy is if you own, let's say, 8 vehicles on your farm or something altogether, you don't want to be tabbing around all 8 of them all together. You just leave all your vehicles locked, and this is what I do. I leave all my vehicles parked or locked, and if I'm just using 1 or 2, I just unlock the ones that I'm actually using, so then I can tab between the ones I'm using at the time very quickly without having to tab through everything else. Now, the next mod I want to discuss with you is the map object hider. This particular map already has the map object hider built in, like no other maps do. And all it is, you can go up to anything that's built into the map, and you can make it disappear. So I think it's O for memory to make them disappear. So this shed here, if I don't want that there, I can go hide it. Oh, there you go. It's a fence that time. But you can see how I can just hide objects and unhide them again. And that goes for anything that's built into the map, any item that's built into the map. So let's make that whole shed disappear. Oh, that's the fence again, is it? Yes, that's the fence again. Let's go over to this shed over here, because I should be able to make that disappear. No, it doesn't want to do it with that. It does it with, you've got to be in the right spot, but basically any object on the map you can make disappear if you don't want it there. I don't think you can with trees, but you can with fences, walls and things like that. Now, of course, where this mod comes in really handy, if we wander over here very quickly, jump this gate. Over here, I wanted to put a gate into this stone fence here, so I can get to this barn that I put in here a lot easier. So I just went in and I, as I said, you got it, oh, there you go, and you can just take out part of the wall and then put a gate in, and that's all I did there. So that hide objects is really good. Now there's another one that's also good when you've got buildings in a farmyard that have no use, and you can't open the doors to store things in them, called edible triggers. So we've already had sleep triggers in the game for a long time, so you can go and add sleep triggers into a house that isn't a house that's meant to be part of a farm and turned into part of the farm if you want to. But edible triggers gives you more than that, like you've got bale storage triggers and things like that, so you can take any building like this that has actually no function and give it a function. So it's placing down a trigger next to a building. So I found that one to be quite good too. The next one that I absolutely love is called Dusty Lands Extension. Now what that does is it kicks up more dust clouds behind the different vehicles, and if I go left shift, control and full stop, is it? I normally adjust it in the actual menu anyway. There is a shortcut there, but I can't read it, my eyes aren't good enough. But in the actual menu itself here, you go down to Dusty Lands Extension, somewhere down here, you can change how much dust cloud is kicked up behind each vehicle, and if you increase it, I can't find it right now, but anyway, you can adjust the amount of dust cloud that is kicked up behind each vehicle, and especially with ploughs and combine harvesters and all that, I like to kick it right up a few notches so that you get big clouds of dust forming behind each of these vehicles. The only downside of the Dusty Lands Extension mod is that if you suffer from hay fever, it can actually get your eyes watering just seeing all this dust on the screen all the time. So it's probably not one you want to use if you suffer from hay fever, but if you don't, then it's a great mod and it certainly adds a lot of realism. The next one I want to talk about is Exhaust Extension. Now, Exhaust Extension is a mod that a lot of people don't like to use because it conflicts with quite a number of other mods. So there are some other mods you won't be able to use if you use Exhaust Extension. But what it's really good for is it means that the exhaust coming out of the tractor there will get bigger and blacker as the tractor's doing more work. You can see there as I take off compared to idling, it gets black. And if I try and run the machine, so let's say I try and dump some of the food ration here into the cow pen, you can see how it all gets black and thick again, the exhaust. See, I turn the machine on, the exhaust thickens up, as well as the revs in the tractor getting higher. So I really like that mod. But as I said, that one does play up with some other mods. The other one I really like, which is the one that I was actually referring to much earlier, is called FS22 wheels. Now what that one does, let's drive this tractor. Now as you can see, this food mix was only 55% full at the moment. If we drive up here, I know, you see on this farm, this tractor is 100 horsepower, so I know to go and open that gate ahead of me, I have to park back here and go and open that gate, and then come back and go and open this gate, and then come back and drive the tractor up. And the reason I can't drive right up to the gate before doing that, I will demonstrate, and this is a perfect example of the FS22 wheels mod. So I park the tractor here to get out and open the gate, hop back in the tractor and watch this. As you can see, this tractor doesn't have enough power to pull this food mixer trailer, even when it's only half full, taking off on a hill. You can see there on the wheels of the tractor. Unfortunately, with this tractor, although it's only a two-wheel drive tractor, visually the front wheels are actually driving as well, and you can see them spinning there, and that's why they're digging in, because the two-wheel drive bit of this tractor is only visual. So vehicles can get stuck anytime that you trying to get them to do anything that uses too much power. Now, the FS22 wheels mod, this one that allows you to dig in and get stuck places, is the other mod in my list of ones I like, which conflict with a lot of other mods. So it does to some degree limit the number of mods that you can use. I know it conflicts with 4D Modding's lawnmower, so you won't be able to use his excellent mower if you've got the FS22 wheels mod. But I like the FS22 wheels mod so much that I'd rather have that one than the mower if I can only have one. The other thing it conflicts with is any two-wheeled vehicle in the game. So any motorcycle or bicycle, you won't be able to ride if you're using the REA22 wheels mod. It plays up with the handling of a two-wheeled vehicle, and you just end up falling off it all the time and not being able to pick it up. Now, there is another thing with the REA22 wheels mod, and I'll show you here. If we go to the store, and let's go to the feed wagons. So the feed wagon that I'm using at the moment is this one here, the smallest one in the game. And it says here, quite clearly, you need 90 horsepower to pull it. Now, without the REA22 wheels mod loaded, you only really need a bit less horsepower than what anything says. So if something says it needs 90 horsepower, it probably only needs about 70. And if, let's say, your biggest tractor, like mine, is 100 horsepower, you can buy equipment up to about 120 horsepower. The REA22 wheels mod actually does the opposite. So if something says it needs 90 horsepower, it probably actually needs about 110. And if it says it needs 100, it probably needs about 120. So this trailer that said I only need 90 horsepower to pull it, this tractor is 100 horsepower. As you can see, I can get up this hill, but it's dropping down. We're down at 4 miles per hour at the moment, and the trailer's only half full. If this trailer's full, it gets down to 2 or 3 miles an hour up this hill, and this is the hill I'm going up right now that I physically cannot drive up in the snow with this tractor. It just does not have enough power to pull this trailer in the snow up this hill. And the hill's not that steep, so it, with the REA22 wheels mod that I'm using right now, changing the wheels over does have an effect. So if I stuck double tyres on the back of this tractor, it would have more grip, and it quite possibly would get up this hill. The problem then, of course, is that I won't fit it through any of the gates with double wheels on, or not very well. So that's one of my favourite mods, but does conflict with others. Now, talking of the REA22 mods, there's a number of other ones apart from the wheels mod they also make, which don't seem to conflict with other mods, or nowhere near as much. There's one called REA22 Dynamic Dirt. Now, what I love most about that mod is that when it's been raining, you have puddles appear on any low areas of ground. So for an example, if I go over here, I'm just going to go for a quick run and jump a few fences here so I can show you. This paddock here is one of the lowest ones on my farm, at this end of the paddock is. And when it's been raining, this part of the paddock just ahead of me right now, you can actually see it's slightly lower than the rest. This is the lowest point on my farm. And this bit here becomes a big lake when it's been raining. And so it doesn't actually change anything in the game. You could grow crops in that part of the paddock, you can drive a tractor through it and cut the lawn and what have you, but it doesn't look realistic to do that if it's underwater at the time. And that REA Dynamic Dirt mod makes puddles in the lowest parts of your map, and so I play it where you just can't farm there. There's another one called REA22 Implements, which changes, like let's say you've got a plough, for example. It's a lot harder to pull a plough in dirt that's damp from rain a day or so ago. It's a lot easier to pull in drier dirt. There's another one called REA22 COG, which changes the centre of gravity. So if you've got a trailer full of grass or crop or something, it's got a much higher centre of gravity than an empty trailer, and it will flip quite easily on corners. There's another one called REA22 Distant Motor Sound, which if you hire workers, then if you're working alongside on a paddock alongside one that the hired workers in, you can actually hear the tractor going past, and the sound actually, assuming your TV's got stereo, which most of them do now, you actually hear the tractor going past, and you hear the sound going across like that. There's another mod called Critters, and I use this one all the time as well. And the first thing in the morning, you will see little glow flies, just a little glow from them. But mostly what that one does is adding sound. So I have dogs you'll hear barking in the distance, There's a train that'll run in the distance. You can hear the birds if I be quiet for a minute. So that's what the Critters mod does. Mostly it's not visual, mostly it's just sounds. So it adds the sound of farm dogs, trains in the distance, birds and things like that. So it makes the map feel a lot more alive and real. And then the last mod I wanted to explain, which is the only one that's not in the mod hub, you've got to download this one, just search it by name and you'll find it, is called Realistic Player Size. In FS22, the players are about 7 foot tall, so if you stand next to a tractor, you'll realise that. This one just makes you a bit shorter, so when you're in first person view like this, which is the normal outside of vehicle view, it just makes the camera a bit lower, so you feel a bit shorter, makes it feel more life size. Anyway, that's what I really want to show you this this video. It's just most of it FS22 wheels mod, which, as I said, I absolutely love it. It does have the downsides that you need more power for any piece of equipment than what it says for the piece of equipment, which I don't mind. Once you're aware of that, you compensate accordingly when you're buying things. And the other big difference, of course, is that it will conflict with some mods. Not many at all, but there is the one mower I found that it conflicts with, and it will conflict with any two-wheeled vehicle. Okay, that's all from me for now. Thanks. Bye.